A long-time user of AdapTable, our powerful AG grid extension, asked us if we had support for columns that displayed multiple values. And the answer is we do. We call them array type columns. And in fact, there's quite a few interesting and useful features that we offer. It's a bit buried a little bit deep in our code, in our documentation. It's developer guides, configuring AG grid, cell data types, because these are the data types of array. And in fact, we support for text, number, tuple, and object. And there's really three main use cases. So the first is Sparkline columns. That's where your column displays a Sparkline chart for all the values in the cell. And that can be just a normal numeric array. It can be tuples, or indeed they can be kind of complex objects. The other type is a badge style. That's where you show a different badge for each cell value. And again, you can have different rules per row based on the value with different styles, different images, etc. And the third is you can create calculated columns. These are dynamic columns that you define using an expression. And in this case, it's the toArray expression, which outputs an array. So if we go into this example here, if we go full screen and we say show code, we can see here first, if we go into column defs, that the institutions column has a text array. That's this column here. And then we can also see, if we go into adaptable options, that the institutions column has this style, this badge style. So for instance, we say it's orange where it's Geneva, and that's kind of what you see here. Anywhere which is Max Planck is brown and white, which is these two here. So these are multiple badges. You can create as many as you want. The other thing to bear in mind about array columns is that you can still filter on them. We automatically create the in filter, that's the list of values. So if I want to see anyone who went to Columbia, Princeton or Cambridge, I can do that, and I can see the 7 out of the 9 who went to one of those 3 august institutions. So that's filtering. And as I said, you can also do Sparkline and calculated columns. So in fact, let's create that now. So let's create a new calculated column. And we saw before there was a lot of ratings columns. So let's create one for each of those 5 years of ratings. So in our expression editor, we use the toArray function. And that can take numbers, or it can take columns, which become numbers. So let's say we will take these 5 years. So that's 2025, 2024, 2023, 2022, and 2021. Oop, I didn't do a comma there. So there we are. That's our array with those 5 years. Interestingly, AdapTable's already worked out that that's going to be a number array. And then we can add other things if we want to this column, which we won't for the moment. And then we finish. Let's make that column visible. So if I go into my layout, I go into columns. There it is. There's ratings. And let's make it visible. And there's the column that we've just created. And now you can see the output is an array and it matches these. And as I said, it's very simple to create a Sparkline column for that. And what we do is we go in, we just say styling, create Sparkline column. It automatically chooses Sparkline. It automatically chooses this column. And here we can choose whichever type we want. So let's say we want an area where the stroke is brown. We can do that. And there we are. There's our column. Or we can change its type. So let's imagine we want to see it as bars. We go into styling. We can edit that Sparkline column. And this time we'll say, let's see bar. Let's make the fill a bit easier to see. And there we are. There's our bar. There's our Sparkline column. So here we have 2 array columns, one which we created in our column definitions for institutions, where we've added a badge style for each individual element. And here we've created a array column using a calculated column toArray expression function. And then we've then rendered that using a Sparkline. And this too is filterable. So if I want to see only the people who got a 5 or a 6, then I can. And again, it's just those 7 people. Thank you for watching. I hope that was of interest. As I say, it's not, array columns are kind of slightly buried away, but it's a good example of the many features we have in AdaptTable that people are often not aware of. So if there's anything you'd like to do with AG Grid or with your data grid, please get in touch. And there's a very high chance that we offer it, that we can save you time, expense, trouble, and provide you with a very useful out-of-the-box solution. We look forward to hearing from you, and we'll be happy to provide you with a personalised one-to-one demo, or indeed your own free, no obligation trial license, so you can try out AdapTable or AG Grid extension for yourself. Thank you for watching.